Matthew Brooks and Larry Donald will get it on in 6 rounds. These are heavyweights. Larry Donald, a guy who, according to Jenks Morton, who is working with him as his trainer, is coming along. It is a project, but he's coming along. Let's take a look.
Olympian Larry Donald came home from Barcelona without a medal, but he's hoping that he has a gold rush started as a pro. He's raced to 3 wins since turning pro in January. He dealt a loss to Craig Brinson in his first match, showing a few opening night jitters, but still getting the job done. He made his Las Vegas debut against Bruce Johnson and showed the trademark Donald jabs and right hand. And he closed the book on Johnson. This one also ended in the 2nd round. This Cincinnati product, who is not shy about talking about his prowess, backed up his talk with a 4th round KO win over Lou Jackson. And while he's not exactly on the Oscar De La Hoya fast track to a title, he is posting W's, something he hopes to do tonight against Matthew Brooks.
So it'll be Brooks and Donald, and to meet him, here's Michael.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the heavyweight division. This bout scheduled for 6 rounds. The referee for this contest is Kenny Bayless. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the multicolored trunks and weighing in at an even 198 pounds. He's fighting out of Houston, Texas, and brings a professional record of 9 victories, 5 defeats, and 1 draw. 5 of those 9 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Brooks. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with black trim, weighing 229 pounds, from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's undefeated as a professional, 3-0, 3 KOs. Let's welcome from the 1992 U.S. Olympic team, Larry Speedy Donald.
Ring center, ring center. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you at all times to obey my commands. Any questions from either corner? Shake hands, let's come out fight.
So there was a look at Matthew Brooks, 9-5-1 with 5 knockouts. Had a tough time, actually, since 1990. He's only won 1 fight. Larry Donald, who's 3 up and none down, and still learning by his own admission. Brooks is ready. Wrong sport, though. I think it's an 800-meter start. And he takes a right hand from Donald for all his efforts. But I do like his trunks.
Yes, excellent fashion statement. A Southwestern motif by Matthew Brooks.
Southwestern, nay, African.
Ah, okay, that's true. That's true. Larry Donald, of course, as we mentioned in that highlight, did not get a gold medal or even a bronze medal in the Olympics. And big disappointment to him.
Who do you suppose his hero is? On his questionnaire, he says, name, Larry, Ali, Donald, hobbies, writing poetry, favorite movie, the greatest.
Well, he has been known to spout his own poetry about his boxing prowess, although I think he's subdued that a little bit. And he's in a stage where, for a while there, when he was going to turn pro before the Olympics, a lot of people really were very high on his chances as a pro, and of course his stock fell a little bit at the Olympics when he did not perform up to what they expected. Now his mission is to get that excitement back again.
Well, we said he's a project, and I don't really mean that in a derogatory sense at all, but they're bringing him along very slowly. He does have a lot to learn in making the change from the amateurs to the pros. Some people make it faster than others.
The thing that Larry Donald has very well is a good right hand, which he showed you there, and a great jab. And you can see those are the weapons that he uses primarily.
And he hurt Matthew Brooks with the first one.
We had Brooks here on ESPN losing to Al Cole in the cruiserweight division back in September of 1990 when he lost a TKO on 4. He has fought a lot of cruiserweight bouts.
Punch under there, man.
Brooks did get a left hand in, but it didn't seem to do much.
Keep the punches up. Keep the punches up.
town is still buzzing over the Carbajal-Gonzalez fight from last night, which we'll be talking about in Ringside Report.
Not to mention the rejection of UNLV from the NCAA tournament.
Yes. Yeah, that's a more recent buzz. This is from this afternoon. Something akin to the stock market crashing in this town.
In this town it is. So we come to the end of the first round, a round that has been pretty much dominated by Larry Donald, and we'll be back to the Aladdin in Las Vegas after this.
Is his calling card, and there it is against Matthew Brooks. It's his big weapon along with the jab. Matthew Brooks, I mentioned he's fought a lot of his fights as cruiserweight, also lost to Anthony Hembert. When he gets in against the bigger heavyweights, has problems.
And you can see that. He's just being pushed around by Larry Donald here. A fight that really does not appear as though it's going to go any other way than what we saw in the first round. Let's take a look at the numbers in the first round, and they tell you everything you need to know.
Donald landing 46%, which is quite good. So many of the guys like Brooks that are cruiserweights end up fighting as heavyweight, and which, of course, as I've noted on many occasions, over and over again, I think is a mistake.
But it's hard to get paydays, according to all of them, as a cruiserweight.
Yeah, it is difficult. And they go up just to get the payday, but it inevitably tarnishes their record. Rain on my cruiserweight parade, huh?
No, I completely agree with you about the cruiserweights. I think it's a terrific division.
Yeah, but it is. Your point is well taken, because if they can't get the paydays, they have to go up and fight the Larry Donalds and people of that ilk. Now, Larry Donald is not moving as much as he did as an amateur. We've seen that in his first several fights. He wants to stand and punch a little more, obviously.
Got it with a good right hand, followed it up with a left. A disturbing trait, though, of Larry Donald, and to be honest with you, is that he really squares up to his opponent.
Very much so. That's always been. See, and he's not used to fighting flat-footed like this. That's probably part of the reason why he's doing it. He's used to moving a lot.
Watch out, guys.
But one thing Larry Donald is doing that they've worked with him, obviously, on is throwing those good, solid combinations and the left hook. His left hook is so much better right now than it was when he was an amateur. I mean, it's infinitely better. And you have to look at, as you said, look at improvement in certain measures.
I think Jenks Morton is doing the right thing.
He's obviously doing an excellent job on the technique of Donald.
I've always thought Jenks is a great coach, to tell you the truth.
Excellent.
And you might hear the voice of Jenks Morton in the background saying, more than one, double it.
It's one thing Larry Donald didn't do as much as an amateur, that's throw combinations.
Coming to the end of the second round, and the second round very much like the first round so far as Larry Donald is concerned.
Larry Donald showing you that he's throwing the left hook a little bit more. Even though that one was a little wide, you can see he wants to throw that punch, and he got it home against Matthew Brooks.
Larry Donald is just kind of getting used to the pace of a professional fight, too. You really kind of sense that he's trying to keep something in the tank. He doesn't want to run out of gas.
Watch out.
Doing a little bit more this round, a little more on his toes, working the jab a little bit more early in this round. The numbers through 2 rounds clearly in Donald's favor.
He learned a lot, I think, from his loss to Roberto Bellato, the Cuban heavyweight who went on to win the gold medal. He was outquicked by him, and that surprised Donald. So I think what he wants to do is set down on his punches better, be a much more precise puncher, and that's what Jenks Morton has been working on with him.
I'm sure Jenks is working on his confidence, too. He's been fighting guys who are not as big as he is, like Matthew Brooks, guys that, generally speaking, he can push backwards and are not going to push him backwards.
There is in the audience Jorge Gonzalez, a very fine amateur Cuban heavyweight who was campaigning, won last night against Mike White. I want to apologize. I made an erroneous comment in the pay-per-view last night. I said that he got caught in between Stevenson and Savone. He actually had an 8-year run as the #1 heavyweight in Cuba. What I was trying to allude to was in public's perception, they don't think of him in the same terms. Now, Savone was just the 201-pounder, also not the super heavyweight. But I want to clarify that because the way I phrased it did sound inaccurate. We want to give everyone their due here.
Very good.
I'm not like USA Today. I don't put these apologies in the little box down here where you can't find them. You know,
Right on the front page.
Right here, in front of the world.
The right hand. But Brooks looking off something. Interesting reaction from Brooks.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Work out of there, guys.
You know, the interesting thing about when you fight the smaller guys, the cruiserweight types, it's kind of a difficult position because if you don't knock them out with your big power shots, it makes people start to think about your punching power. Maybe not rightfully so, but that's what it does.
Brooks got there with the left hand, but it really cannot do much damage against the much bigger Donald.
Matthew Brooks is really having a hard time landing much of anything.
Work out. Work
The
out.
inside is trying to go to the body, but it's not working too well.
But he's got nice shorts.
He does have nice shorts. You are correct. Does that come under the category of giving people their due again?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Coming to the end of the third round now, and all these rounds start to look pretty much alike. Donald in complete command. We start the fourth round. Larry Donald coming to the center of the ring to meet Matthew Brooks, who has been completely outclassed through the first 3 rounds. Now I say that, we're going to see your scorecard in just a moment. I'm sure you have it completely the other way.
No. We're in complete agreement here. Now, of course, in recent weeks, we've been in complete agreement. That does not mean, ladies and gentlemen, that the judges are in agreement with us.
No.
Certainly seen that enough. You know, this building here, this Performing Arts Center, has had some really excellent matches in it in the past. Remember Andy Gannigan and Alexis Arguello? A real slugfest.
Yes.
Ernie Shavers against Roy Williams, a wild heavyweight affair. And remember Richie Sandoval and Harold, big right hand. Richie Sandoval and Harold Petty had a great fight here. One was on ESPN, and then the second one they had here.
It's a great room, actually. Particularly good room for boxing.
Got a nice crowd on hand. Matthew Brooks occasionally gets the lead left in, looping left hand. That's been about all for him.
Keep him up. Keep him up. Keep him up.
I mentioned Matthew Brooks has had his problems since way back in 1989, actually. He lost to Anthony Hemrick, as you mentioned earlier, at the end of '89. Didn't win a fight in 1990. Didn't win a fight in 1992. Didn't fight in 1991. Won his last fight, however, on the 25th of February against Todd McPhee in Irvine.
Watch out. Watch out, guys.
He's a 3-time Louisiana Golden Glove light heavyweight champ, which tells you the weight he was fighting at.
Prior to, of course, to beating McPhee, he was 0 for the decade.
That's true. Now there's the Larry Donald movement that we have seen so much as an amateur. And, you know, it's a good thing to be able to go to at some point. If you get it, either if you get in trouble or you're ahead in a fight, if you have that hand and foot speed and you have a certain style that you have honed over years, you can go to it when it benefits you.
Well, and again, we talked earlier about mental barriers, and Larry Donald has not gone more than 4 rounds. Now here he is just about at the end of 4 rounds, and obviously he feels, hey, I got something left here. Maybe I can still do something. And that's really the game for young fighters, is first you get through the 4, then you get through the 6, then you go to the 8, and then you feel you're ready for 10. But until you go that distance, you never really know.
No, you're not sure, and you can spar all the rounds you want and do it all in the gym, but it's not quite the same as being in the ring for real.
That's it, right? Yeah. Work out of there. Come on, again, man. Work out of there, guys. Punch him there. Come on, let's go.
So we come to the end of the 4th round, and another round for Larry Donald to put into his books, and I don't think there's any way he can lose this fight.
Larry Donald landing the right hand again. Matthew Brooks' hands low and not really hurting him with that punch, though, Barry. I mean, he's not he's a heavyweight facing a smaller man. He's not getting Brooks in trouble with that punch.
Well, he's now into the 5th round where he has not been before, but showing no signs of fatigue, really. Still up on his toes, moving pretty good. But your point is well taken. This is a guy that you would have to feel that at the very least he could put into some trouble. Numbers indicating what we're seeing.
When Matthew Brooks faced Alex Garcia, who of course is one of the better heavyweights, he was knocked out in 2 rounds. Of course, Garcia far advanced from where Larry Donald is, being mentioned as even a possible opponent for a Holyfield or a Bowe.
Alex Garcia, another one of those heavyweights that seems to be getting a little bit better as time goes on.
He has improved, although, you know, and everybody laughed when he turned down a lucrative fight with George Foreman a couple years ago, and maybe they're not laughing anymore.
Yeah, turned down $100,000, and you're right.
With young heavyweights emerging, trying to make their mark. Donald is among them. We saw Buster Mathis' son, Buster Mathis Jr., who's not a big puncher, but the last time we were here at the Aladdin, in fact, we saw him, and he's a very busy fighter who is an entertaining heavyweight because he punches so much.
Yeah, exactly the kind of fighter, too, that I'm sure heavyweights are going to avoid. He's a pest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean that in a complimentary way.
No, it's true, and not that easy to hit.
He, in fact, reminds me a lot of Tony Tubbs when he was really at his prime. And there was a time that I thought Tony Tubbs had a chance to beat anybody.
Yeah, really, he did because of the certain skills he had. It's a good hook by Larry Donald.
Good punching, guys.
I'm going to give you a name for the future, a heavyweight who was just about 11 fights. Willie Jackson, out here in Las Vegas from Louisiana, a heavyweight that you'll be hearing from in the next couple years. Remember that name because he could be a guy who could make big waves in the heavyweight division.
There is a crop of young heavyweights starting to pop up. Jeremy Williams, I thought, had a real learning experience his last fight. Kind of took a little lateral step rather than a forward step, but learning process for him, too.
He had been whacking everybody out early. And for Larry Donald, that's what this is, basically. He's pretty much able to do what he wants here against Matthew Brooks.
Punch out, guys. Punch out of the air. Let's go.
This was an uppercut by Brooks, but it really didn't do much. And there's not much on Donald's punches right now either. End of 5. And he looks like a worn-out fighter.
He's been whacked pretty good by Larry Donald, and the jabs would indicate that. Now, 34% for Larry Donald, maybe not as high as he would like in the jab department landed. It's a punch he likes to land more of.
Donald starting the final round with a flourish here, but he also took a shot from Brooks. Shutout on your card. It's hard to look at it any other way.
No way you can give Matthew Brooks a round at this juncture. Matthew coming out a little more aggressive, though, in this round, trying to make something happen. He's a very durable guy, Matthew Brooks. I may sound like damning somebody with faint praise, but the fact is he is, because he's in against bigger man, and he's hanging in there, though not doing much offensively. Trying, but not able to get much done offensively.
Well, the one thing I think that Donald will take out of this fight is, again, we keep talking about barriers, and now he's crossed, at least assumedly will cross the 6th round barrier now. Knows he can go that far. I know even Mike Tyson used to talk about that when he first fought 10 rounds against James Tillis. It was a fight that everybody thought he took a backward step in, really, and he said, well, I just didn't know. And that may be what Larry Donald's going through.
Pacing himself in a fight that they thought he would knock Tillis out in. Right. And Tillis fought a very good fight in that fight also.
Fight of his life.
Yeah.
Michael.
Remember when Quick Tillis fought Weaver in Chicago, and the best punch of the fight was thrown by Angelo Dundee in the corner to Tillis to wake him up, and it didn't.
No, I remember late in that fight when Tillis hurt Weaver and would not move forward. I mean, he is in his hometown, Chicago, at the Horizon, with 10 or 12,000 people urging him on, and James Quick Tillis didn't step forward against Mike Tillis. And from that moment, literally, his career changed.
I remember the pep talk that Angelo gave to him. It was about the 7th round. Angelo said, "Your mother's here. You're embarrassing her."
Oh, God, wow.
Watch out, fellas. Come on, let's go.
Strong statement. Well, Larry Donald has gotten himself his win here, obviously, and has done some things well, but these are not the kind of wins that are going to raise your marketability, in truth. Because I think, in truth, when you face a man that's this much smaller, if you don't knock him out, you at least should put him down or do something more dramatic, probably, than Larry Donald's doing, even though we acknowledge that certain aspects of Donald's game clearly have improved.
Yeah, that's what I have to think, too. I think Jenks Morton and the brain trust of Larry Donald and Larry himself will sit down and look at the videotape of this one and say, what did I really gain here? And the answer may be not much.
Yeah, they'll have to take it apart bit by bit. What they're going to have to do to take good solace from this is do things like say, okay, you did throw your left hook here more often and better and with more leverage, but you didn't throw it enough, or you didn't do this, you didn't do that. They're going to have to really look for the smaller things, the subtler things, because in the overall picture, no, it didn't advance them.
Yeah, jabbed well, but then didn't do a lot off the jab.
Yeah, exactly. Early in the bout, Larry Donald was throwing more combinations. Now, there's the total numbers. 44% is a respectable number to land. But then again, you know, Matthew Brooks was a pretty inviting target.
All right, let's get the official decision, see if it's any different than ours. Mike?
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards, and all three judges, Dick Houck, Bill Belegia, and Davey Pearl, all scored about 60-54 for the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated, Larry Speedy Donald.
Very hard to see that fight any other way but the way it went. Larry Donald is a winner unanimously and won every round on the cards of all three judges. Back to the Aladdin after this.